Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Wisconsin.
This Brewers and Cardinals series is presented by Toyota. Tuesday night baseball coming up here at Miller Park. Game 2 of a 3-game set between the Brewers and the Cardinals. The Brew Crew looking to snap a 5-game losing streak and reverse their trend of struggling against their division rival, the St. Louis Cardinals. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sophia Minert. Thanks so much for joining us for tonight's Brewers game here at Miller Park. And August is coming to a close. September is around the corner. And with that, playoff baseball. The races are starting to heat up. And certainly the National League wild card is one of the most exciting ones to be watching as we head into the final month of the regular season. So let's recap what happened here at Miller Park last night. There was certainly a lot of excitement. The Brewers scored 4 in the 7th, but then Randall Grichuk had a home run in the 8th to tie the game. That set up Yadier Molina for a bunt. Here we go, Jonathan Villar with the throwing error that would score the winning run. Piscotty there. And last night at Wrigley Field, a back-and-forth game between Pittsburgh and Chicago. Gregory Polanco, Josh Harrison gave Pittsburgh a 3-run lead, but then Chicago came back with a pair of home runs. Jorge Soler tied it at 6 in the 9th. They would go all the way to the 13th. Josh Harrison would give the Pirates a lead with a sac fly, but then Miguel Montero coming in with the walk-off single. Certainly a lot of excitement at Wrigley last night. Another division series as Chicago would win this one 8-7. We take a look at the National League wild card standings now. The San Francisco Giants at the top of that. They have a 2-game lead. St. Louis, they're locking up the second wild card here, but Pittsburgh is on their heels. They are just a game and a half back. Miami, New York, Colorado, all in contention as well. So certainly something to watch as we continue with division play here at Miller Park. It will be Adam Wainwright, Willie Peralta when we come back. Brian Anderson and Bill Schroeder will take a look at the pitching matchup here tonight.
Everybody, we welcome you inside the booth here at Miller Park alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson, and we're setting up for this matchup tonight on the mound with Adam Wainwright, who celebrates his 35th birthday today, against Willie Peralta. And I think both of these pitchers fall under similar categories in that they're trying to resurrect their season this season.
Yeah, Willie Peralta, after spending some time down in the minor leagues, has done a very good job as he's come back. I mean, you can tell the velocity is a lot better. He's been able to throw strikes with both of his pitches. That slider's been very good. The get-me-over slider early in the count, the put-away slider that you see right there against the Mariners, that is a key to Willie Peralta's success. A .352 earned run average since his call-up, and you can see what Willie has done. Not a whole lot else other than fastballs and sliders. He'll throw a couple of change-ups. He'll flip up a curveball from time to time, but that slider, that is a big key to his success. And on the other side of it, Adam Wainwright having kind of a tough season, and this is what it all started. Last year, at bat, he rips a Achilles tendon. He missed just about the entire season. He came back in September, really hasn't been the same since. He has really struggled as of late. He's had really one good month, but his numbers against the Brewers, pretty good. I mean, he is a Brewer killer, 13-8. And 13 wins. 6 of those wins are complete games. So Adam Wainwright, certainly, if he's going to turn things around, this is a spot where he's been pretty good.
Most wins against any opponent for Adam Wainwright, those 13. Mike Matheny and the Cardinals right there in the wild card race. Craig Counsell and the Brewers are trying to spoil the party a little bit. Cardinals won last night. We're set for game 2. We got the lineups in the first pitch coming your way next. Getting ready for his start against St. Louis. Game 2 of a 3-game series. The Brewers trying to get back in the win column here tonight. Tonight's game on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. The roof is closed. Hopefully we'll get the roof opened at some point tonight. 74 degrees outside Miller Park. Feels great. Starting to get a little bit of touch of fall in the air. High humidity though here tonight, and with the roof closed, it is nice and warm inside Miller Park. Mike Matheny knows this ballpark well. A former Brewer catcher. Ended up catching for the Cardinals and the Giants, among others. A 4-time Gold Glove Award winning catcher. Now in his 5th year as the Cardinal skipper. He's got Matt Carpenter leading off. Jed Jerko, who homered yesterday, hit second. Piscotty in the 3-hole. Middle of the order goes Peralta, Molina, and Grichuk. Grichuk hit a key 2-run home run yesterday to tie it. Tommy Pham, Colton Wong, and Adam Wainwright round out the starting 9, courtesy of Potawatomi And the numbers for Willie Peralta, maybe the most important number, Rock, in the fact that he is still here making his 5th start since his call up from AAA. You remember that could have been a one and done for Peralta.
Yeah, he really has looked much better. The earned run average still not where he'd like it to be, just under 6, a 5-9 record, making start number 16 against the St. Louis Cardinals. He's 4-10. He struggled against St. Louis, 0-2 this year. Last time out, a no decision against the Pirates.
Peralta's ERA since he arrived here at 3.52 as we check the Menards Brewers defense, and some changes defensively here tonight, especially at the shortstop position.
Yeah, Jonathan Villar goes from 3rd over to shortstop. You got Hernan Perez at 3rd. He was in right field last night. Orlando Arcia gets tonight off.
Just wonder if Craig Counsell makes that move to get Villar a little more comfortable. He committed a costly error at 3rd base last night. Maybe the matchup with Arcia against Wainwright. First pitch on the way. Peralta deals strike 1, and away we go. Matt Carpenter leads off for the Cardinals. Carpenter started at first base last night, and that's where he is tonight once again. No Matt Holliday, Matt Adams, both on the disabled list. Aledmus Diaz, the terrific Cardinals shortstop, the all-star shortstop, he's on the disabled list. And yet the Cardinals keep banging away, Rock. Mike Matheny's club is still inside the wild card picture right now. Currently 2nd behind the Giants. And if the season ended today, they'd be in the postseason for a 5th consecutive year under Matheny.
Yes, the offense has been the key to their success.
As Carpenter strikes out, chased one, and Peralta starts his night with a K. Got the crew chief calling the balls and strikes and working home plate tonight. Joe West, Country Joe West. Andy Fletcher, the first base umpire, Nick Lentz and Mark Ripperger are the 3 on the bases. Series will wrap up tomorrow. Brewers will take an off day Thursday, and then they hit the road to Pittsburgh for a very brief 3-game road trip. 3-game set with the Pirates, and then the Brewers are going to come home and see the Cubs. His tour of the National League Central continues. Here's the 0-1 to Jed Jerko, and a shot right to Jeanette at second base. And there is out number 2. Oh, Rock, a reminder tonight, our game between the Brewers and the Cardinals is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome all of you watching in tonight.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy the game, and Brewer fans out there serving our country, I hope you get a win tonight. Brewers could certainly use a victory. They've lost 5 straight.
After they had won 4 in a row, including a sweep of the Colorado Rockies to start this homestand. 2 outs for Stephen Piscotty. Checks in with 20 homers and 73 RBIs. He is the RBI leader. Cardinals the top home run hitting team, and they've hit homers in 18 consecutive games. Hit 3 of them last night.
Yep, and lead the National League with 187 home runs. Kind of unusual for a Cardinals offense. They're not typically a team that hits a lot of home runs, but they have this year.
Pitching has been so-so. Defense has been poor, and yet they are banging their way to a potential playoff berth. They come in 8 games over 500. They're 14 back of the Cubs right now, but 69 and 61. They are in that wild card spot, and they've had a huge month of August with the home run ball. They've set a franchise record in that category. And they got a big one last night from Randall Grichuk in the 8th inning. Brewers led 5-3. Grichuk with an opposite field, a 2-run shot to tie the game, and then the Cardinals would win the game as Peralta strikes out Piscotty. What a nice inning for Willie Peralta. A couple of Ks to get him started. hoping to get the fireworks going here tonight. Ton of strikeouts in yesterday's game. The Brewers, as an offense, struck out 19 times in the game last night. Lost it 6-5. They'll try to turn it around here tonight against Adam Wainwright. VR, Jeanette, and Braun make up the top. Council has Perez, Carter, and Nieuwenhuis in the middle, with Broxton, Maldonado, and Peralta rounding out the starting 9. There are the numbers for Adam Wainwright, and they are un-Wainwright-like at this point of the season.
Yeah, just not the same kind of stuff. I mean, he's 35 years old today. Today's his birthday. He had that Achilles injury. Just not the same guy, but still very competitive, making start number 27 against the Brewers. And he has had a lot of success against Milwaukee. 13-8, including 6 complete games.
Wainwright facing Jonathan VR to start the bottom of the first. Jonathan back in that leadoff spot and playing shortstop tonight. I'm sure he's much more settled as the shortstop than third base. It's been a rough go for him at third. He's made some great plays over there, but he's had some costly errors as well.
He's had a rough homestand defensively. Made a couple of errors, in that Pirates series, and made a big one last night late in the game.
Now, one thing he does do is hit, and he had 2 more hits last night, 2 doubles, 1 right-handed, 1 left-handed. Drove in a run, and he checks in tonight batting .298 with a .377 on-base percentage. Broken bat, little roller out to second, and there is out number 1.
All right, check out the Menards Cardinals defense. They lead the National League in turning double plays this year. They got a lot of ground ball pitchers, including Adam Wainwright. You got Pham, Grichuk, and Piscotty in the outfield. Peralta, Jerko, Wong, and Carpenter from third to first, and Yadier Molina, man, one of the best in the business, maybe of all time, behind home plate.
And Molina and Wainwright, a very familiar battery. They've had a lot of success over the years. And been a part of a number of postseason teams, World Series winning teams in St. Louis. Scooter Gennett with 1 away. Last night, Scooter 2 for 5. He drove in 2 runs, raised his batting average to .266, and Gennett with 42 runs batted in now. Brewers had 8 hits last night. Had a lot of strikeouts, as we mentioned, but the 8 hits, a lot of them came late in the game. Carlos Martinez was dealing through the first 6 innings, was lifted due to a high pitch count, but he struck out 13 in his 6 innings.
Yeah, Brewers with a 4 spot in the 7th inning right after Martinez was taken out. Martinez went 6. Brewers had the lead. Not able to hold it.
2-2 pitch to Gennett, and a swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes. And the first K for Adam Wainwright.
Well, Wainwright's always had a very good cut fastball. There you see it right there. Not a lot of movement on it. Kind of straight. Through that good spike curveball that's been very inconsistent this year. And the fastball has been getting hit quite a bit. Location not typical of Adam Wainwright.
Here comes Ryan Braun, his first at bat of the night. Batting .313, 24 homers, 74 driven in. Braun is among league leaders in batting average. He is 8th coming into play tonight. Daniel Murphy leads the league at .345, and Braun ahead of Joey Votto and Starling Marte inside the top 10. Ryan's having a pretty good homestand. He has 7 hits on the homestand. 2 of those are homers. And his career against Wainwright, not many pitchers have had the kind of success that Wainwright has had against Ryan Braun throughout a career. That's a significant sample size as well.
A couple of home runs, 20 strikeouts, and has been a good matchup for the 2 of them throughout the years.
0-2 pitch, and that one spots the edge. Braun is down on strikes. 3 up, 3 down, 2 Ks for Wainwright. We're off and running at Miller Park. We head to the second.
In a divisional showdown, as the rivals from the north side make their way to Miller Park for an afternoon matchup with the Crew. Reserve your spot today at Brewers.com.
To the second we go from Miller Park. And Peralta deals to Peralta. Willie to Johnny. Starts him off with a hook and in there for strike one. No relation. But you got to love the Peralta v. Peralta matchups. There's another one. Better one this time, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, the first one right down the middle to get strike one. The next one a little bit off the plate down. That's what he's been doing a much better job of since his recall. The difference maker for him.
Peralta threw, Willie that is, threw all fastballs in the first inning. 12 in a row.
And some nasty ones at that, particularly to Piscotty.
Went 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts. Wainwright answered with the same. Here's a 1-2. Fastball chopped on the ground. Got some time here. And VR makes the play for out number 1.
Nice play by Jonathan VR. He had Perez cutting in front of him. Not able to make the play. Good concentration to keep it in the glove. You know he wants to finish on a good note defensively. Check this out. Cuts right by him. Able to get it and make the throw to first base. Good play.
He got a great arm. It's been a struggle for VR at third base. Give him credit for going over there. He wants his name in the lineup, so he knows he's going to have to tighten up defensively. But I just wonder, I don't think Counsell would admit it or not, but I just wonder if the move with VR to short today was to try to get a little confidence back. That's a soft liner off the hands right to Carter, and Molina is out. 2 up, 2 down in this second inning.
I don't think that's a stretch at all. I mean, maybe the matchup between Arcia and Wainwright, not what Craig Counsell would like. Arcia with a home run last night, but he wants to keep the good feelings for VR. He wants him to stay positive. He wants him to feel comfortable out there, so to just shoot him over to shortstop. Where he has been very good this year. So yeah, that's something Craig Counsell would do. He wasn't going to take him out of the lineup. He didn't want to have him sit tonight after making that error. That opened the door for the Cardinals to take the lead.
2 quick outs. Here is Randall Grichuk.
You know what they call a manager like that? They call that a player's manager, a guy that hasn't been too far removed from playing days and understands what players are thinking out there. The last thing VR wanted to do is come to the ballpark today and sit and think about that error that he made last night.
Yeah, there's the old school way. You make an error, you might have cost your team a game, at least with that particular play, and then you sit the next day. It almost feels like punishment. Counsell operates in an opposite manner. VR does lead the league in errors. So that is an area he'd like to clean up. The one thing about VR as we watch this matchup with Peralta and Grichuk, one thing to keep in mind is VR does so many things great, and then he has a lot of holes in his game as well, and it's hard to get a handle on what kind of player he is or what kind of player he can be at age 25.
He's got to clean up some base running mistakes, a little bit more consistent with the glove. But there's no doubt that they're going to rely on him heavily going down the road into the future next year for sure. He's a terrific talent. And most people forget. I mean, you want to talk about the error, and how about the at-bats? I mean, he got the Brewers back in the game last night, a couple of doubles.
Hot shot, big hop to VR. And Grichuk is retired, and Willie Peralta has got it going early against the Redbirds. 6 up, 6 down, a couple of Ks. Cardinals tonight, presented by Toyota. Oh yeah, health food. All organic right there. Sets you up just right, partner.
Looks good though, doesn't it?
Oh man, all the fixins.
In a helmet. Nice.
Back at work as Wainwright starts his second inning. Hernan Perez leads off.
You're a nacho guy, aren't you?
Oh man, kidding me? Not all kinds of nachos, and when they come in a helmet, they're extra special.
Yeah. Put some jalapenos in there.
The 0-1 to Perez is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Hernan, who starts at third base tonight. He was in at right field last night, was 0 for 4. And count moves to a ball and 2 strikes. One thing you can always guarantee here at Miller Park, there is great food all over.
Yep.
Tell you, have you dived into the to the AJ Bombers yet? Man, good stuff they have here. Burgers. All kind of.
Did you really ask me that question if I've had any of those burgers? I mean, honestly.
They're just. I don't know what it is about those burgers, what they do to them, but they're special.
It's a secret.
Yeah, that looks great. The big smoker here. That's changed Bill's game. There's a little shot, and it's going to be caught. Soft liner. Wong runs it down. He's got great range at second. And there is the first out of the second inning. All about the food, those glistening pretzels. Remember when they brought the smoker in here, though, Rock?
Yeah.
That's probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Right. Maybe longer.
Oh.
Yeah.
That changed everything for us.
I know. I mean, I'm not sure why they're putting all that food up on the screen. I might have to leave. That's looking good.
These guys do a great job with all the food, all the delicacies around Miller Park. Chris Carter in the 5 spot in the order. 30 home runs this year. Carter, he is 3rd in the league. Nolan Arenado and Chris Bryant are tied at the top with 35. And then Carter, and then Adam Duvall of the Reds right behind him with 29.
And who's in charge of all that food? Our buddy, the head chef here, Seth Vanderland, and he comes in and has us sample some of his goodies, some of the stuff he comes up with.
There's a swing and a foul tip right into the mid of Molina, and strikeout number 3 for Wainwright. I don't feel like we're good quality assurance references because we like everything.
Everything's great.
So there's nothing we've ever said that, nah, you know, I don't think that's going to quite make the cut, Seth. We're kind of all in on whatever.
Does a great job. Good food here.
Today was especially nice. He brought in brisket in a pretzel roll. Top notch.
Yeah.
It's like a brisket dog.
Are there any left back there?
No, they're all gone. I got 3 in me right now, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to work that off. Sitting here for the next 3 hours.
I had 2 plates of salad and a bucket full of peanut M&Ms.
That is a good combo. You were going great with the salad, then you just killed the whole drill with the M&Ms.
Breaking even.
Neuenhuis down in the count 1-2. I'm not sure why we dove so deep into the food discussion this early in the game.
To all those pictures, we're going to ignore that.
Here's the 1-2, and with the shift on, that is the shortstop Jerko. 1-2-3 inning. Food, nothing but food at Miller Park. Gonna need a break. Our Carsoup.com trivia tonight: who are the only Brewers and Cardinals pitchers to win the Cy Young and MVP in the same season? Good question. Peralta deals strike 1. He's been a strike thrower thus far. 22 pitches, 16 of those for strikes. Facing Tommy Pham to start this inning, and it's quickly 0-2 on the Cardinal left fielder.
Notice how quickly Willie's working here tonight. Got a lot of confidence. The slider, that was his best one right there.
Maldonado way outside. Peralta misses badly. And 1-2 the count. Pham getting to start in left. They've had a bit of a revolving door in left field in the absence of Matt Holliday. Holiday's hopeful to come back. A fractured thumb. There's a swing and a miss, and Peralta strikes out Pham. Third punch out. He got him with a breaking ball.
That one had a little bit more tilt on it, a little bit more break than the ones before. And look at the reaction by Pham. I mean, you talk about a defensive swing, and excuse me, Hack, and Willie Peralta with his third strikeout already.
Well, the 27-year-old Peralta in a bit of a comeback situation for the Brewers after losing his spot in the major league rotation. Colton Wong at the plate with one away. Fifth start since returning from the minor leagues. Peralta had the highest ERA in the majors when he was sent down, and he didn't fare all that well in AAA. Had an ERA over 6. Pham down the right field line. That's going to hook foul. But Junior Guerra was injured. The Brewers needed a spot. Peralta was in that window as far as his rotation days, and so he got the call, and he pitched well, and he's pitched well ever since. His ERA at 3.5 since coming back.
Yeah, thrown a lot harder. I mean, there have been starts where he's touched 97, 98. He just threw that one at 96 miles an hour.
All of these starts since returning have come in the month of August. He was in the minor leagues for nearly 2 months. Interestingly enough, his last start in Milwaukee, June 11, he hit a home run that game and got a win against the New York Mets, but was sent down to AAA.
That decision already made before that game. But he handled it well. He went down with a good attitude. He worked hard, and it's paid off.
Little half swing. He goes. And now Colton Wong is barking at Joe West. That is usually not a great idea for a young player.
Joe always wins those battles. There he goes. That's a good call by Joe West behind home plate.
Strikeout number 4 for Peralta, and he's retired 8 straight. And here is the birthday boy, Adam Wainwright. I think I hear somebody singing happy birthday to him. On the first pitch, nice pickup by Perez. And the out is made. 5-3 on the putout. The 5 was special. Perez with a clean pick takes a hit away from Wainwright. And Peralta is retired 9 straight to start his night. Third inning from Miller Park, and a reminder that Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Registration is now open learn more about how you can get involved this fall, visit foxsportssupports.com. Good crowd on a Tuesday night. Brewers Cardinals. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Brewers are going to see the Cardinals on their next road trip. They have a 3-gamer with Pittsburgh, but the next full road trip.
Yeah, 3 games in Pittsburgh, then they come back for 3 against the Cubs, and then go back on the road for 10 days.
Brewers are just 3-10 against the Cardinals this season. It has not been pretty against St. Louis. And Mike Matheny, in his era as the Cardinal manager, is 29-12 in his 4+ seasons. 29-12 as the Cardinal skipper. That's the most for any opponent. Keon Broxton will lead off for the Brewers. Bottom of the order coming up. Still no hits on the board yet. Peralta, first time through the batting order. 9 up, 9 down, 4 strikeouts. And Wainwright has 3 Ks in his first 2 innings. That's the signature Wainwright pitch right there, that curveball. And when he's got that going, he can be extremely difficult to handle.
Yeah, that's been the inconsistent pitch for him. I mean, sometimes he casts it out there, doesn't finish it really well. It just kind of rolls up to the plate. Those are the ones that get hit. It looks like he's got that good break on it tonight.
Wainwright, 35 years of age today. He's been great out of the bullpen. He's been great as a starter. Been a key part of 2 World Series titles. Pitching out of the pen in 2006. Inspirational leader in 2011. He's kind of carried that tradition over too. Chris Carpenter and that set it up. Adam Wainwright coming over from the La Russa era. There's a curveball that Broxton fouls away.
Yeah, those are the ones you have to hit right there. That was a hanger that time. Can't let that one go by. You got to take advantage of those pitches. Those mistake pitches from Wainwright. 20-game winner in 2014. I mean, just tremendous numbers. He's been one of the best in the business when he's healthy.
1-2 on the way, and a swing and a miss. Put it right by him with a fastball. Broxton is Wainwright's 4th strikeout.
Well, he missed that hanging curveball. Then Wainwright gives him the cutter. Not a very good one. It was right down the middle, but Broxton swings right through it. This is always having a difficult time putting that cutter and getting some movement on it tonight, but he's got away with a couple of bad ones.
Here's Maldonado. Martin trying to get that batting average up over 200. He's at 199. Maldonado was 0 for 2 yesterday, but he did walk twice. Scored a run. Matter of fact, he scored the tying run as part of a 4-run 7th. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Maldonado on the ground. Nice pick over there at third. Peralta out number 2. Wainwright missed a season after surgery, arm surgery in 2011. But his story, his attempt to come back and what he was providing in that clubhouse was impressive. And I think his teammates picked up on it. A team that entered in as a wild card ended up winning the World Series, beat the Brewers in the NLCS in 2011. Had very little starting pitching that year. They did it with their bullpen that season, or that postseason. Peralta on the first pitch, and it's going to be 9 up, 9 down for Adam Wainwright. We go to the 4th inning. We're scoreless after 3.
annual tradition for owners Mark and Debbie Adonacio to do something to give back to fans and to the community for the final home game of the season. So this year on Sunday, September 25th, earlier today, the Brewers announced the Give Back game. So fans have the opportunity to purchase tickets for that final game, September 25th, for just $10, and you can choose that donation to go to one of 4 great charities. That includes the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, Make-A-Wish, the MAC Fund, and the Wisconsin Humane Society. So you can choose where you want your donation to go. You can make a further donation up to $50, and these tickets are available immediately, a first come, first served basis. And again, just a terrific opportunity for fans to give back, designate where they want their donation to go, and also enjoy the final home game of the season here at Miller Park.
Yeah, for $10. That was a nice time down there today at 10 o'clock here on the field. Had some representatives from all 4 of the charities. The media partners are going to promote this event. It's going to be the last game of the home schedule this year. $10 tickets and a little competition, a little contest for where the remaining balance of the money that the Brewers are going to donate, where that's going to go to. So a little bit of a fun competition.
I love it. Great job. Great idea. And good work today, Rock, promoting that event. Saw Johnny Mac down there, and Buck's getting started soon. Wish him the best. And all of those great charities connected to the Give Back game. Peralta starts his 4th inning. Carpenter, who struck out in the 1st inning, leads the way. He's in a 2-0 count. And there's the first base hit. Carpenter turns it around, a single to right. And a man on for St. Louis to start the 4th.
Well, got him the first time on a high fastball, so Peralta has been attacking Carpenter all fastballs, and this time on a 1-0 pitch, or actually a 2-0 pitch, he's able to line it hard into right field. Carpenter has had tremendous success against Peralta. Coming in a .474 batting average against Willie with 3 home runs.
Continues to be one of the premier leadoff hitters in the game. Jed Jerko with a big swing. He's got the home run bat going lately. He's hit 9 August home runs. His 9th came last night. Put the Cardinals on the board. That was off Zach Davies. 23 homers for the season for Jerko.
Well, he hit one last night against Zach Davies on a really good pitch. It was a changeup down and away. He stayed back, hooked it, and knocked it out of the ballpark in left field. Impressive swing. Another good start for Zach Davies last night.
Yeah, quality start. He went 6 1/3, 3 runs, struck out 9, and no walks in the game last night. No decision for Davies, as the Brewers did come back to tie it. 0-2 the count, and a swing and a miss. Peralta strikes him out. His 5th punch out already, and the first out of the inning.
A little extra on that slider right there. That's a good pitch. Check it out. You see the release point going down over the plate, but down out of the strike zone. That's the thing he's been doing so well with 2 strikes.
The hitters talk about the dot on a slider. That was the dot where the laces come together. Great camera work out there to see that spin.
That's that spin rate you were talking about last night. Good spin off the fingers, and you know, the tighter the spin, the more rotations, the sharper that pitch is going to break. And a lot of times the later that pitch will break. You want it late, you want it sharp. They really got a good one right there.
We could dive in a little bit on that slider tonight with Peralta. That one he just threw to Piscotty, more of the get over, the steal the strike version. He threw that at 83 miles an hour. He can ratchet it up into the mid to upper 80s as well when he wants to, and when you pair that with a fastball at 95, that's what separates Peralta. When he's right, throwing the breaking ball well, that slider is tight. That's when he can be dominant. He hasn't had that for most of the season, though. That's been the problem. Runner at first, Carpenter single. First hit of the game for either team. And a swing and a foul tip right into the mid of Maldonado.
Yeah, how about the movement there? 97 on that fastball. So he's got it working tonight. He's getting on top of that pitch. You see the fingers right on the top, and you get the good wrist snap, and that's how you get that downward movement on it. Sometimes you get on the side of it and that pitch will flatten out. Not going to get that downward motion as it gets to home plate. That is a dandy of a pitch. That's that power sinker.
6 strikeouts. 4 of the last 5 outs have been strikeouts. 2 gone for Johnny Peralta. Peralta last time up grounded to short. And he thought about it. He takes a strike. 1-1 to count. Peralta now the Cardinal third baseman, as Aledmys Diaz has become their shortstop of the future. Diaz is out with an injury right now, thumb injury, and he's soon to return. They're looking at September, mid-September for him. Boy, Peralta just carving up Cardinal hitters with that power sinker.
And down and in. You know, the sinker going down and into right-handers, the slider going away from right-handers, and nothing really down the middle of the plate.
One and 2 the count. Good block by Maldonado, keeps Carpenter at first. Johnny Peralta started the season on the DL. He had surgery on his left thumb, missed 57 games to start the year, and then he came back. He played a little bit and then had to go back on the DL with a strain of that left thumb. He missed 16 games in that window. Has not played much, only 212 plate appearances. Rolls over 1 to short. This will be easy for VR to Jeanette, and Peralta gives up a leadoff single, retires the next 3. The bottom of the 4th, Milwaukee coming up against Adam Wainwright. And our Carsoup.com trivia, we're looking at Cy Young and MVPs in the same season. We're looking at a Brewer and a Cardinal.
Well, Raleigh did it.
Raleigh for the Brewers. Bob Gibson, 1968, the year of the pitcher.
Yeah.
He raised the mound that year. Denny McLain won 31 in the American League that season, and Gibson with the 1.12 ERA in the National League in 1968.
1-1-2. How about that? Man.
The rare feat. There's VR, and he singles to start the inning. Almost a carbon copy here. So Matt Carpenter, the leadoff man, singled to start the top of the 4th. And the Brewers leadoff hitter now singles. And a man on.
Curveball. It stayed up in the zone just enough for VR to be able to get a good piece of it. You can see the way he holds it. Actually leaves his index finger off the baseball to get that extra snap. He leaves it up, and VR able to pound it into center field.
VR with his 3rd hit in the series. A man on for Scooter Gennett. Adam Wainwright now in his 11th season in the big leagues. Had a chance at a couple of Cy Young awards. I think the fact that Chris Carpenter was so good in that window as well might have cost him.
Yeah, split the votes.
He finished up 2nd in the Cy Young Award voting in 2010. That was the year Roy Halladay won it. Halladay had not only a no-hitter in the regular season, but threw a no-hitter in the postseason that year. Missed all of 11. He came back in 12, and then in 13 he finished 2nd to Clayton Kershaw for the Cy Young voting. Hot ground ball. Carpenter to 2nd, out there. The return throw up the line, but Carpenter gets the tag on Gennett, and it's a double play.
Well, nobody does that better in the National League than the St. Louis Cardinals. They get a lot of double plays. And Adam Wainwright induces a lot of ground ball double plays himself because of that good sinker. The 3 to 6 to 3 double play. And the Cardinals turn another one. Good play by Carpenter to get the tag. Throw off the bag, but Carpenter able to make the tag on Gennett before he gets to the base.
Well, wherever Carpenter plays, he's the best defender at that position the Cardinals have, whether he plays 2nd or 3rd, or like he is tonight and like he was last night, first base. 2 outs. The lead single is wiped out. Here is Ryan Braun now. Braun struck out his first time up. A called strike 3 to get Braun. And a wave and a miss. Wainwright's got him chasing a little bit. Braun enters play today in the top 10 in 3 major categories. Batting average, he's 8th. Slugging percentage, also 8th. 9th in the National League in OPS. OPS of 921. Combine the on-base percentage and the slugging percentage.
Yeah, just a really good year for Ryan Braun. Well, for the most part in the second half, he's been able to stay in the lineup just about every day. He missed, what, 4 games with a back. Other than that, it's been just about every day. Counsel gives him a day off once in a while.
Braun reaches out, punches one. Carpenter hits Wainwright covering, and that will end the inning. Oh, you ask and you receive. Look at Seth bringing the brisket Sammys. Way to go, Seth. Thank you, buddy.
You have any for Brian?
Whoa. Tight.
Really?
Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. 1-800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Got a good game going tonight. Fun game to watch. Dominated by the pitchers, Peralta and Wainwright. Scoreless matchup. Each team with a hit. And we go to the 5th inning with Yadier Molina leading off. Molina, Grichuk, and Tommy Pham. First 3 up. Well, those brisket sandwiches came right at the right time. Huh?
They smell good or what?
They're on a pretzel roll. That's the thing that separates them, Rock. Makes them from big league to Hall of Fame worthy.
I hope this is a quick inning.
There's not enough time to dive in. And Seth, our chef, he got them nice and messy, like the right kind of way messy, though. A lot of sauce on there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, it's not going to be pretty up here.
Does a heck of a job, he does. He and his staff.
Molina on the ground. That's going to sneak through a base hit. Finds the hole. Yadier Molina with a leadoff single here in the 5th.
Yeah, get behind an account, and even that big fastball is not nearly as effective. Fastball in. He's got the count in his favor, and he's looking for it. Look at that high leg kick. Exaggerated that time. And just out of the reach of Perez at 3rd.
Back-to-back innings with leadoff singles. And Peralta to face Grichuk now. Grichuk now settling in as the everyday center fielder for St. Louis. Game-tying home run in the 8th last night. He has now set a new single season RBI mark. Has 49. Young player just getting his career going. Actually had to go back to the minor leagues this season to get right. He was really struggling early.
Yeah, he was. He was benched, and then he was sent down, and he's come back and putting together a nice season. 19 homers. Incredible power.
Had 2 stints down in AAA this season. He's had some arm problems, not throwing the ball well. Cardinals brought him back up on August 11th. And he has responded with the home run ball. He's hit 7 homers since his call up on August 11th. A wave and a miss. Peralta strikes him out. That is number 7 for Willie Peralta.
Yeah, when he's been able to get 2 strikes on a hitter, it's usually this pitch, the slider. You can see over the confines of the plate, down out of the zone. That's a season high for strikeouts. Willie Peralta, number 7.
Sets us up with our Quicken Loans rocket arms with these two. Wainwright with 4, Peralta with 7. And Tommy Pham up there with a man on. Pham's another guy that's been up and down between the Cardinals and their AAA affiliate, Memphis. He's been hurt as well. Had an oblique injury early in the season. Maldonado on his way out. Quick trip to the mound for the Brewer catcher. These two have been together for a long time, going back to single A. Peralta and Maldonado, and the best of friends. And matter of fact, Maldonado is the godfather to Peralta's children.
And does a really good job of firing them up and keeping them focused out there in the mound. At least he's been able to do that since the call up. Maldi really a solid defensive catcher. He really does a good job getting pitchers through games and calling a game.
1-2 the count on Pham.
The best slider he's had all year right here. It might be the best slider he's had in a couple of years.
This is 2014 Willie Peralta we're watching right now. A 17-game winner that season. It's about as calm and happy-go-lucky as it gets, except on game day, and he brings a different kind of aura to the mound, especially when he's got the kind of stuff he's working with tonight. He's been on the attack. Pham was strikeout victim number 3 back in the 3rd inning. Molina at first.
They got him a pitch just like that. Remember that kind of a defensive swing by Pham in the 3rd inning.
Pitch count in good shape as we play in the 5th. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him on a 3-2 pitch. He went back to the slider. His 8th strikeout.
Did one before that a little bit too far outside, and Tommy Pham able to take this one a little bit closer to the strike zone, and he's able to get him on strikes.
For Peralta, his 8 strikeouts, the highest total since he struck out 13 in September of 2014. At 13 Ks against the Cubs late September of that year. That was on his way to a 17-win season. We haven't seen this kind of Peralta since then. 2 outs with Wong at the plate. A strikeout victim in the 3rd inning. We've seen our fair share of swings and misses in this series already. Yesterday, Brewers struck out 19 times. Cardinals punched out 12 times. In the air, center field, pretty well hit, but Broxton is there. And there is out number 3. Peralta rolled along against the Redbirds tonight.
T-Mobile, greater coverage of baseball. We'll catch you caught up. News and notes from around the league. Yasiel Puig was claimed off revocable waivers by an unidentified club earlier this afternoon. He's been in the minor leagues in AAA for the Dodgers since August 2nd. So as usual, the drama always continues with Yasiel Puig, and former Cardinal Albert Pujols hit home run number 586 last night. That's tying Frank Robinson for 9th all-time. And perhaps the biggest news in baseball today with a player, Tim Tebow, the former Heisman Trophy winner, 2-time national champion held a workout earlier today at USC. 2-hour workout included a 60-yard dash, batting practice, outfield drills. 27 of the 30 major league teams had scouts in attendance, and Tebow was clocked at 6'6" in that 60-yard dash. And as usual, there were opinions all over the board on Tebow's workout. Some came away impressed, others not so impressed. So we'll see where Tim Tebow could end up.
I love the fact he's trying to do it.
Mixed reviews.
There is no chance it's going to happen. I mean, he may sign somewhere. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we know how fast he was, but can he hit?
That's right. One scout said he looked like an actor trying to play the role of a Major League Baseball player. A pop-up by Perez, that's going to end up in the seats.
You think somebody's going to take a chance on him?
I think he'll have a chance to maybe go to winter ball, or there'll be a minor league team or an independent league team that would sign him just for the attraction. And I don't blame him for that.
Right.
I think it's great that Tebow wants to try to play baseball. He's athletic enough to pull it off. He's famous enough to maybe get a shot. It's great for the game.
Yeah.
I got no problems with it. It actually shows how hard this game is to play.
Right. Heisman Trophy winner, great athlete. And let's see if he can cut the mustard, trying to hit a baseball and play baseball.
The great writer Jeff Passan, who wrote the book The Arm, had a great line, and I agree with it 100%. There's no downside to this for Tebow.
Right.
If he makes it, it'll be a great story. He's not going to make it, I don't think, in my opinion. I just think it's too hard.
It's not a game you can just pick up, all of a sudden and expect to be able to compete, particularly at the professional level. There are certain skill sets that go way beyond just being a good athlete to play baseball.
Well, every scout will tell you, every baseball man with major league organizations will tell you there is a crossroads at some point in amateur players' career, especially the better athletes like Tim Tebow. And baseball wants to try to capture those players and have them go to baseball like they did for so many years, not to navigate towards football or basketball or some of the other sports.
Right.
And I think that's a positive thing that Tebow, after all these years, is trying to prove that he can play baseball. He loves the game. He wants to see if he can play it. Nothing wrong with that. By the way, I've scheduled a tryout as well.
How many teams are going to show up?
I've gone undrafted all these years.
I've seen you at fantasy camp.
Yeah,
all
right.
scouts out there, just stay home.
I thought I would maybe set it up at fantasy camp next year, a tryout for myself. So if anybody would like to come check it out.
You're about the same age as Tebow, aren't you?
29, sure. Good call. Same body type, same physical makeup, no question. Wainwright 2-2 on Perez, and he got him. Climbed the ladder that time, and Hernan is a strikeout victim. Number 5 for Wainwright.
Hey, keep up with the Brewers wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, the official app of the Brewers. It features live broadcasts, scoring updates, breaking news, and much, much more. Download At Bat today, free for your smartphone or tablet.
One away, Chris Carter at the plate. The cut fastball of Wainwright on that one.
Made some mistakes with it early in the game, but it seems like it's a better pitch as the game's going on. It'll drop that curveball on you.
Well, there's great art in watching two pitchers on top of their game work to hitters like we've seen tonight. Think about the sequencing here and how Wainwright is attacking Carter. Starts him with a cutter and then a slower curveball, back to the cutter. Moving the ball in and out, the varying speeds, and then a fastball right by him. Fooled him.
And a four-seamer, was expecting the ball to cut off the plate, but caught the edge. Same exact pitch that he struck out Ryan Braun in the first inning.
Pinpoint command, everything away from Carter. Games like this can be fascinating.
Yeah. Reminds you a little bit of last night's game, right?
He's off to that kind of start.
Yeah, the way the starting pitching went last night, very similar to tonight.
With Carlos Martinez against Zach Davies. Neuenhuis gets jammed. And Wong will underhand it to Carpenter. And Wainwright blows right through the Brewers' order with 2 more strikeouts to give him 6.
At Miller Park as we head to the 6th inning, and that brings us to tonight's Tavern of the Game winner. It's the Ice House right here in Milwaukee, actually right down the street on Miller Parkway. If the Tavern Contact calls the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. It's offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Pitcher against pitcher here as Peralta faces Wainwright. Wainwright has faced the minimum through 5 innings. He's given up 1 hit. And that one's deep into left center field. Still carrying. Braun with room, though, and he's got it for the out. 1 away as Peralta retires Wainwright. More on Willie Peralta. Let's check in with Sophia.
Well, pitching coach Derek Johnson said overall he's been very pleased with what he has seen from Peralta since he came back from his time in AAA, just 4 starts since then. Has said particularly the Seattle outing, he thought, yeah, he showed some great consistency and had a great job navigating what was primarily a left-handed lineup, something that Peralta has struggled with in the past. So overall, he's just seeing more consistency. He's putting strikes where he wants to, keeping the ball down, and certainly we've seen that here tonight.
Peralta in his 2014 season, which was a breakthrough season for him, as a 25-year-old, he won 17 games, had an ERA at 3.5. Looked like he was on his way to that elite level, that next level. But then he regressed, Rock. He came back last year, lost 10 games, an ERA at 4.7. His walks were up, strikeouts were down.
Yeah.
Craig Counsell felt he maybe need a little confidence boost, and they gave him the opening day starting nod, hoping to get him back to the 14 season. And it just didn't pan out that way. He really struggled to start the year. And since that 14 season, he has only won 10, lost 19, and an ERA at 5.24.
Well, if Willie continues to pitch like this, I mean, he's very much looking forward to a time when we don't show that graphic anymore.
Well, that was a big league pitch. Was that a changeup to Carpenter? He doesn't throw many. Carpenter strikes out. That's number 9.
84 miles an hour. Another slider. Took enough off of it. Really didn't have much of a break on it. It was really acted like a changeup because the movement didn't strike him out. It was the speed.
Really just 2 pitches tonight for Peralta. Fastball, slider. He's got 9 punch outs. 2 outs in the 6th inning for Jed Jerko. The roof is opening Supposed to be beautiful here the next few days in Milwaukee after some showers.
Can feel the breeze already.
Yeah, if you look at it without perspective, it looks like it's moving so slow. That ball's hit hard. Jerko sends one deep right center, and it is gone. Jed Jerko does it again. Well, whatever this guy found, he has found it in St. Louis and hoping to bottle it up for the rest of the year. That is his 10th home run in August. 24 on the season, and the Cardinals are on the board first.
That's what they do. They hit home runs. It was a slider that just kind of spun up there, outer half, and able to get on top of it. Nice short stroke and rides it out of here into the Toyota territory. That was a blast to the opposite field for Jerko.
You could tell it just had that sound. So Jerko has hit more home runs since the All-Star break than any player in the big leagues. 17 home runs since the All-Star break.
And one of the few mistakes that Willie Peralta has made with the breaking ball.
Cardinals have now homered in 19 straight games. Jerko's hit 2 in the first 2 games of this series. Piscotty strikes out. Peralta gets the K, number 10, but gives up a booming homer to the opposite field. Jed Jerko gives the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. Of a Jed Jerko solo homer, his 24th of the year. Well, the home run's a big part of the story for both of these teams this season. The Brewers here at home have hit 90 on the Powerball home run mark. Chris Carter is the club leader in that category with 30. Jonathan Villar with 11 on the season. Braun with 24. 90 homers here at Miller Park this season. Carter's hit 21 here at this venue. Keon Broxton will lead off for the Brew Crew. And now the Brewers trying to answer with Peralta down 1-0.
And even with the 5-game losing streak here at home, they're still 2 games over 500. So still playing some pretty good baseball here at Miller Park. Just the opposite for the Cardinals. Did you check out their home record? St. Louis Cardinals way under 500, 7 games under at Busch Stadium.
And yet the best road record in the National League. That's a go figure stat.
Yeah.
Matheny's been asked about it quite a bit. Doesn't have an answer really. They just play a little more focused. If you talk to the folks who cover this team every day, They would tell you there's a little more focus for whatever reason. They play a tighter brand of baseball on the road. I don't know, maybe more of a pack mentality.
How about this?
On the road?
The fact that they hit so many home runs. Busch Stadium is relatively good pitcher's ballpark, right? Maybe those home runs that they hit on the road end up staying in the ballpark at Busch Stadium. Yeah, just a thought.
I like that thought. It's all free game right now.
Yeah, just pontificate.
I think they just prefer the gray uniforms better. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a style situation. Broxton down the right field line, a base hit, and knocking it down is Piscotty. Broxton on his way to second, and he is in there with a double, just flying around the bags. Leadoff double for Keon.
Well, Piscotty had just a little bit of trouble with it down in the corner, and that's all it took for Broxton to decide to take off. Kind of smothers it, it goes down, bobbles it just a little bit, but Jonathan Broxton decided already to take off to second base. That's that cut fastball, leaving it up. Sounded like he jammed himself a little bit. Right there, that bobble. It's all it took for Broxton to get himself a leadoff double.
Well, Piscotty saved a triple with Broxton's speed. If that gets to the wall, he's going all the way to third. Tying run at second with Maldonado at the plate. Broxton is an excellent base stealer. He reads pitchers well. He's only been caught once this year, and that's when his foot popped up off the bag on a slide. He's a feet first slider, and he usually goes in pretty aggressively. First time the Brewers have had a runner in scoring position tonight. Only the second hit. Wainwright's only pitched in the stretch to one hitter until now. A cut fastball by Wainwright, Rock, starting to ride in the middle of the plate here in the last few pitches.
Well, it has really, you know, in the beginning of the game, he got away with some bad ones. He was throwing some good ones like innings 3, 4, 5, and yeah, that Keon Broxton double was on a cutter.
1 ball, 1 strike. Maldonado fouls it away. He's late. 1-2 on the Brewer catcher. That'll be an interesting decision for counsel with Peralta due up next. If Maldonado makes an out, Peralta is pitching so well on the mound. He's got Boyer loosening in the bullpen, but your opportunities and runs might not come very often. Does he pinch hit for him or not? And Maldonado takes a ball. That was close.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty good pitch. Looked like Wainwright wanted it.
Pitch number 4.
Right on the edge.
Well, Santana looks like he's roaming around for an at-bat. A lot of times guys who are in the pinch hit window will go underneath in the batting cage, take a few swings. Pick-off play, Broxton just back.
Just trying to keep him close in the event of a base hit. Might not be able to score. Broxton able to get back barely. Close.
Too close. Already in scoring position. Leadoff double. 2-2 the count. And Maldonado down the line. Base hit. Broxton will score easily. That's going to go to the wall. Maldonado to second. It's a double, an RBI, and we are tied at 1.
Well, he got that extra pitch. That pitch on the outside corner right before it looked like it could have been strike 3. That pitch away. Wainwright tried to come inside, and Maldonado able to hit it hard down the line. It was a slider that was supposed to be away, ended up inside, and Maldonado got enough of it. Broxton scores easily, and Martin Maldonado trades places with him at second base.
Double number 5 produces a run, his 15th RBI of the year. Not only does it tie the score, it probably keeps his pitcher in the game as well. Counsell will let it ride with Peralta, and why wouldn't you with the way he's pitching? It's up there to bunt, gets it down, and now Maldonado in a rundown, and Peralta's on his way to second base. Just keep going, Willie. And the out at second. Maldonado is out, but Peralta does advance to scoring position. So good work by Maldonado to stay in a rundown.
Yeah, and not a guy you would expect to be able to stay in a rundown very long. Not very fleet of foot, but does the job. Ball deadened a little bit too much by Willie. And you stay in that rundown long enough for the guy at the plate to be able to get around to second base. He does that. So good job. So still a man in scoring position.
Putout goes 2-6 to 5-3. And one away. Top of the order. Here comes VR. Had the first Brewer hit. Clean single to right center in the 4th inning. Cardinals score in the 6th on a homer by Jerko. The Brewers even it up. RBI double by Maldonado. Total board the same. Runs, hits, and errors. A run, 3 hits, no errors. VR swinging a good bat right now. 2 hits yesterday, has 1 today against Wainwright. It's had a nice homestand.
A couple of doubles in yesterday's ball game. 1 to drive and a run. Yeah, 1 in that 4-run 7th.
10 hits and 34 at bats on the homestand. Up and in. 2-1. It's been a while since VR homered. Got to go back to August 28th here at Miller Park. It's 2 whole days. It's been on that home run binge. I think VR feels like he could be a 20-25 home run a season guy. I think Brewers are trying to make sure he doesn't fall into that that groove, that rut.
Cut down on those strikeouts a little bit. He might very well be able to do that.
Certainly has the swing for it, though. I was talking to Craig Counsell earlier in the year about VR. So he's got the kind of swing as he matures in the game, learns the pitchers. That's right back to Wainwright. Throws to second, and Peralta is safe. Somehow Peralta got back to the bag, and VR will reach first. No doubt the Cardinals are going to want to take a look at this here. Really not sliding, goes back feet first.
He got caught off, and just a little bit of hesitation by Adam Wainwright. Looks like he's able to get in there, but does he lift both feet off the bag while the tag is on him? Check it out right here. Watch. He's on the bag, but are the feet off the bag right there on the tag? I think it's pretty close. We'll see if the Cardinals want to take a look at it.
Joe West peers in to see if Matheny wants to challenge. He says no.
Let's see where the ball is. He bumps in and never does tag him with the glove or the ball, actually.
Bracing for the impact.
Yeah.
2 on now. Here's Jeanette, little jam shot left field, and coming in to make the play is Pham, and there's out number 2. So Scooter on the first pitch. The second out. Scooter ran into right there. He walked over something. Huge divot right there, and I don't know if he rolled his ankle or tweaked his knee, but something grabbed him a little bit as he was running down the first baseline.
Yeah, a little jam shot, keeping an eye on the baseball, and right here, eyes up, and it might have been maybe a sprinkler head there. Not sure.
All right, so here is Braun. Brewers have tied it. Braun trying to deliver the big hit to give him the lead. Peralta, the runner, at second. Villar at first. Ryan's been among the best in the league this year with runners in scoring position. He's 6th in the NL, hitting .347 in spots like this.
It's going to have to probably be a gapper to score Willie Peralta. There's something hard hit at one of the outfielders. I don't think Eddie Cedar's going to send him.
2 on, 2 out. Now Ryan's on the home run leaderboard with 24, courtesy of Powerball. He's at 2 career home runs against Wainwright. Wainwright has won most of the battles, though, with Ryan Braun. He's got a low batting average. Came in at .216 with 20 strikeouts on Braun. And Ryan is 0 for 2 with a strikeout tonight. Cardinals tied it in the top of this inning on a Jed Jerko 2-out homer. Or took the lead, I should say, the Cardinals did. And then the Brewers tied it with the Maldonado double here in the bottom half. And Braun knows he missed one there.
Yeah, hanging curveball. He's upset with himself.
2-2 to count now.
That's the thing about Wainwright. He might not have the same stuff, but he has the same mentality. 2-1. He throws the curveball, and Ryan upset that he didn't stay back.
It's the change of pace on the curveball that had him out in front. Two and 2 and 2 outs. An action pitch for Adam Wainwright. Certainly doesn't want to go 3-2 and allow the runners to start up. And now I think Molina's on his way out just to get the pitch settled with Wainwright.
That's a conversation. Both guys on equal ground right there. I mean, a lot of experience for both of them. A lot of baseball games between the two of those guys. A lot of winning.
Great matchup here, Wainwright and Braun. See what he decides on. And Braun spoils the fastball. Shoots it foul.
One of his best fastballs, 94 miles an hour. It might be one of the first he's thrown at that velocity. Right on the corner.
Finally gets the one he wants. Another 2-2 coming to Braun. Fights another one off.
Giving him everything he's got, Adam Wainwright to Braun, and Braun's able to foul off some tough pitches. That last one, a slider. Borderline, but you don't want to leave it up to Joe West.
At 77 was the curveball. Best fastball of the night at 94 to Ryan. Still 2-2. All tied at 1 in the 6th. Peralta at second, Villar at first, and Braun shoots one foul again. He's tough to shake. I think both of these players can shake their heads about particular moments in this at bat. Braun felt like he missed a curveball, and I'm sure Wainwright feels like
that was the pitch to get him right there.
He got away with his best fastball. He spoiled it foul, and going through the mental Rolodex on what to throw here.
No surprises at this point. He's seen everything.
Two again. Inside, Braun able to check his swing, and now the count is full, and now the runners will get a head start. You'll see at least 9 pitches. After 3 straight foul balls, he gets it to a 3-2 count. He's fouled off 4 total in the at-bat. Runners will start. There they go. 3-2 pitch, and Braun sends one in the seats foul. Another fastball.
I think VR just passed Peralta.
Which is perfectly acceptable on a foul ball. Just don't do that when the ball's in play.
Right. Which could happen.
Epic battle here between all-stars Braun and Wainwright. Runners will start again. Pitch number 10, 3-2 pitch. Braun on the ground to short, and Jerko will make the play, and the inning is over. However, the Brewers answer the Cardinals run in the top half. Broxton doubles to start it, and then the Brewer catcher Martin Maldonado with a double to tie it. All even at 1. We go to the 7th. Cardinals Brewers on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Here in Milwaukee, here in the 6th inning. And on Sunday, September 25th, the Brewers will host their first ever give back game here at Miller Park. Ticket proceeds from the Brewers' final home game this year against the Reds will go to charity. Visit brewers.com/giveback.
Looking forward to that. The Brewers are not home very much in the month of September. A lot of road games. Brewers are in the middle of a 10-game homestand currently. Swept the Rockies, got swept by the Pirates, trying to even up this series with St. Louis. Looking at the upcoming schedule, the Brewers will hit the road for 3 quick ones in Pittsburgh, home for 3, that Labor Day matchup, an afternoon game on Monday the 5th, and then back on the road. It starts a long trip. Go to St. Louis for 4, the Reds for 3, and then the Cubs for 4. And then the last homestand of the year, Rock was telling you about, Pirates and Reds. Only 9 games at home remain after this series with the Cardinals that wraps up tomorrow. Johnny Peralta will lead off. Willie Peralta back to work. That truck around the bases.
Well, we'll see how all the activity for Willie on the bases is going to affect him in this 7th inning.
10 strikeouts. Pitch count's in great shape as he starts the 7th. As Rock mentioned, very active on the bases. Sprinted his way to second and was at second base for all 3 outs.
And almost got caught off the bag, had to scamper back. I use the word scamper loosely.
There's probably a better word for that.
He got back, lumbered back.
That's a good one, lumbered. Bottom line is he didn't sit down in that inning. A little bit out of your routine as a pitcher.
Yeah. No, the double by Maldonado, as you mentioned, kept Willie in the game. Willie was up there, able to bunt. Maldonado drove in Broxton. Had he not done that, Greg Counsell probably would have gone to a pinch hitter.
There's a swing and a miss. It's 3-2. And Willie coming back from 3-0 to Johnny. The matchup of Peraltas. Johnny has grounded out twice, both to the shortstop.
Still throwing hard, 97 that last pitch. Next pitch is going to be number 80, so he is in really good shape. He needed 100 pitches to get through 5 innings his last time out.
Payoff. And Peralta lays off. Draws the walk. Walk to start the 7th. Well, Saturday, MLB on FS1 returns a doubleheader. First, it's the Astros and the Rangers, an AL West matchup. Rangers lead that division. And then the Tigers against the Royals. Both teams trying to fight their way to the wild card spot. Tigers still have designs on a division title as they trail the Indians. 2:30 Central start time on FS1. You can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Yadier Molina in the air to center field. Routine for Broxton. And on one pitch, Molina's out. First out of the inning. Got some good races going on around baseball. The 2 runaways are the Cubs in this division, the Central, up 14 on St. Louis. And the Nationals are up 9 on the Marlins and the Mets. Doesn't feel like much of a comeback is set up in those 2 divisions, but tight races in the AL East. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Orioles, all separated by 4 games. Cleveland up 4.5 on Detroit. Kansas City just 5.5 back in that. Royals have been hot. And you got a good race in the NL West. Dodgers only a 1.5 games up on the Giants.
A lot of baseball to be played. A month.
That's what the West looks like.
A lot can happen.
And those 2 teams, the Dodgers and the Giants, one leading the division, the Dodgers, the other leading the wild card race, the Giants. There's a throw to first. Back in time is Peralta.
It seems so easy for Maldonado. That big throwing arm. He just has such quick feet. Gets himself in position to throw and loves to pick runners off.
He has patterned his game after the Molina brothers, specifically Yadier. They are all tight. Maldonado is very close with all the Molinas. And as a young kid coming up, and the 3 Molina catchers with Jose Benji and then ultimately Yadier. I can remember when Benji was starting on his run with the Angels. I remember talking to a bunch of scouts and people around the game saying, just wait till you see the youngest Molina, Yadier. You think Benji and Jose are good, and they were good big league catchers. Benji better than Jose, but Jose had a nice career.
Yeah, they all have.
But none of them have been as great as this one. Headed for the Hall of Fame. 2 balls and a strike. Grichuk at the plate. On the ground, chance to turn it here. VR to second. Jeanette to first, and not in time. Grichuk runs too well, and he keeps the inning alive for the Cardinals. 6-4 on the putout at second base.
Yeah, right off the end of the bat, VR waited back on it. That's what cost him the double play, but they were able to get one. Didn't try and rush it. And Grichuk able to beat it.
Yeah, Willie thought he had a double play ball right there. So he'll continue. Tommy Pham with a runner at first. Cardinals got a 2-out home run last inning from Jerko. Pham certainly has enough pop as well. You have to respect his power. He's at 9 this year and just 162 plate appearances.
Yeah, Willie's got him a couple of times.
Jam shot foul.
He struck out 2 times on sliders.
Figure if you're an everyday player, you're going to get somewhere between 500 and 600 at bats, depending on how much you walk. And so think about Tommy Pham here with 9 home runs in just 137 at bats. Gives you the idea of his power potential.
Are you going to jump into that's on a pace for?
On a pace. Do the cross math. Multiply it by 4.
It's about 36 homers.
Said there'd be no math today, Rock. Threw out some algebra equations last time I was with you. Here's the 1-1, and it goes to 1 and 2.
Yeah, I believe yeah, that was thrust upon us, and the answer was -3.
I thought it was X.
That was X. -3.
One and 2 the count. Pham has struck out twice. Runner goes. Maldonado's throw right there. The tag in time. Grichuk thrown out trying to steal. The inning ends at second base. All tied at 1. Good ball game going tonight. Brewers Cardinals at Miller Park. Great throw from Maldonado.
Cardinals even at 1. And you can join the Brewers Community Foundation for an evening with Hank Aaron on September 24th right here at Miller Park. All the funds raised will support Hank Aaron's Chasing the Dream Foundation. This annual event is always a crowd pleaser and sells out quickly, so be sure to go to brewers.com/BCF to register today.
All tied at 1. Thanks, Sophia. Here we go. And Hernan Perez on the first pitch. Skies one to center field. 1 pitch, 1 out for Wainwright as we play in the home 7th. And here comes Chris Carter. Cardinals scored in the top of the 6th. Jed Jerko, his 24th home run, came with 2 outs. Brewers tied it on a Maldonado double in the bottom of the 6th. And these 2 starting pitchers matching each other pitch for pitch thus far. Feels like a game that will be won with a home run.
And you're hoping it's in the bottom of an inning. Brewers could use a nice victory against the Cardinals, snap their 5-game losing streak, and take one from the Redbirds.
1-1 to Carter. Tough matchup for him with Wainwright. Carter struck out twice tonight. Hoping for that one mistake. Wainwright hasn't made many tonight.
That'll probably be his last inning. He's due up 3rd next inning. Brewers are hoping he doesn't get there. Brewers are trying to knock him out here. Send him to the showers, which seems to be a difficult proposition for both of these offenses tonight.
Went 7 shutout against the Brewers in his first start of the season. Curveball bounced toward short. Jerko's got it. And there is out number 2. Wainwright has 13 career wins against Milwaukee. It's the most for him against any opponent. 2.23 career under an average. His 13th win came earlier this season against the Brewers.
13-8. The Brewers have been able to beat him 8 times, though. Considerable.
That win was in St. Louis back on July 2nd. Kirk Neuenhuis. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Most of Wainwright's memories here at Miller Park are good ones. He's had great success here. But one of the worst injuries he's ever had in his career came right here at Miller Park as well. April of 15, ruptured that Achilles. Neuenhuis scatters him in the seats, a line drive up there. Just hope everybody's all right.
Yeah, looks like it. You got some applause down there, but yeah, that Achilles injury that just about ended his season. It came back in September last year, but that happened at the plate, running to first base.
And he has said that he has not gotten all the strength back in that Achilles, that left ankle, which is his land leg. This is the injury. Peralta was on the mound that day. This is April of last season. Pretty benign swing. He started to take off, and it blew. The left Achilles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew it right there. Out. What they thought was the season made a miraculous comeback to be available in the postseason. And he strikes out Neuenhuis to end the inning. Wainwright and Peralta each have gone 7. 1-1 score as we go to the 8th. If you're just catching up here, let's get you caught up with Adam Wainwright and Willie Peralta. They've been the story so far. Wainwright, 7 innings, 7 strikeouts. Just had a 1-2-3 7th inning. Probably his last. It is most definitely the last for Peralta, who goes 7. Strikes out a season high 10. Most strikeouts he's had since 2014. And Peralta giving up 3 hits. The one run was a home run by Jerko. Had a great slider going tonight, partner.
Well, we came on the air talking about that slider and how important it was, the 2 different kinds, and he had both of them working beautifully tonight. As Carlos Torres takes over for the 59th time this year, a 3.00 earned run average. Carlos last pitch on Sunday against the Pirates gave up a run in an inning of work. A lot of work for Torres this year.
Carlos facing Tommy Pham, who was at the plate when Grichuk was thrown out trying to steal to end the 7th inning. He was in a 2-strike count, so he gets new life, faces a new pitcher. Peralta had been tough on Pham. He had struck him out twice.
We saw that Adam Wainwright's cut fastball. You got the same thing coming out of the hand of Carlos Torres. It was about the same speed, 91. Just threw it to Pham out in front of it.
2-1 the count on Pham. Bottom of the St. Louis order here in the 8th. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th, the Brewers will also be at the bottom of their order. Broxton, Maldonado, and then a pinch hitter. There's a swing and a miss. 3-2 now.
Yeah, borderline up and away.
On the ground, VR coming in. And Torres comes all the way back to get the out. 1 away here in the 8th. Well, nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. Catch their new show on FS1, Speak for Yourself. Weekdays, 5 p.m. Central. One gone in the St. Louis 8th inning. That'll bring up Colton Wong now. Has struck out and has lined out. Shift is on for Wong. They have 3 infielders on the right side, the Brewers. Expecting him to pull on the ground. Got in on his hands, a little flare. That's a long run. Braun will have to watch this bounce. And Wong with a big turn ends up with a single.
Well, that's a nice pick out there by Scooter Gennett. I mean, that ball is short hop. If that ball gets by him, that ball's running down the line, down the right field line. Pham would have been able to get into second base. Or I should say Colton Wong. That jam shot just dumps it in front of Braun out there in left field. And there's your go-ahead run at first base.
And with the shift on, there's that play by Gennett. But with the shift on, there's no chance an infielder can run that one down. 1 out single. Meeting at the mound, Derek Johnson setting up the pinch hitter here for Torres, Brandon Moss, who started in left field yesterday.
And leads the team in home runs. You got to have a little bit of a conversation, but you know the game for Torres is that cut fastball. No reason to think he's going to stay away from that pitch. That's his best.
Moss with 25 homers. He's hit 3 as a pinch hitter. And he's been a good pinch hitter for Matheny. 6 hits, 19 at bats. That's a .316 average. 3 home runs and 7 RBIs off the bench. And Torres is hoping for a ground ball here to get him out of this inning. Oh, had a home run swing right there. quickly. 0-2.
And Moss had a rough day at the plate yesterday. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Probably one of the reasons why he's not in the starting lineup tonight. Always a dangerous bat when he steps into that batter's box, though, with that home run power.
He started in left field last night. Find him in left, find him at first. Torres has him down 0-2, and a swing and a foul back up in the zone that time. Hernan Perez, the third baseman, will go over to the right side of the infield. VR stays put in his regular shortstop position. And the 0-2 hit hard. Jeanette's got it to second. Out there, the throw to first, and it is in time. A double play. Perez, the third baseman, with a very strong arm, able to make that play. The Cardinals are going to look at this. That is an unusual 4-5-3 double play in the age of the shift.
Yeah, good job by Perez keeping the foot on the bag, and they're going to get him. The Cardinals are looking at it. And let's see what Mike Matheny wants to do. Looks like the double play was turned.
And Mike Matheny says no challenge here. So a double play ends the inning, and Torres puts up a 0 in the 8th. Brewers coming to bat, all tied at 1.
Board in the 6th inning by doubling and scoring their only run of the game, thanks to Martin Maldonado. Martin's had quite an eventful day behind the plate.
Yeah, started off with the big double that scored the first run. Comes up the next inning, throws Grichuk out, stealing. And then how about his maneuverability by a catcher in the rundown to avoid an out?
Wait a minute, by a catcher, what do you mean by that, Augie?
Well, he stayed in the rundown so Willie could get to second base.
Pretty good for a catcher, is that what you're saying?
I was saying that, pretty good for a catcher.
I didn't say it, I just wanted to clarify. Got Brewers Live postgame coming up after the ball game. That much I do know.
And Craig, that's got Rock really upset.
I didn't start it, just so you know.
Got his dander up.
I'm not. He's right.
Rock's leads off.
How can you argue with that, right?
Craig and I are trying to stir it up. We'd love to see you and Augie.
Me and Augie, no chance. Me and Augie.
How about Kevin Segrist here, partner?
Yeah, he had a rough time of it last night. He gave up a bunch of runs, and Cardinals able to come back to win, though. 55th appearance. The Cardinals have 3 left-handers in their bullpen.
Keon Broxton at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Key double, scored the run in the 6th. Maldonado drove him in. All tied at 1. Well pitched game thus far. And the 1-1. Broxton cuts and misses. Segrist came in yesterday and gave up a run of his own, allowed a couple more to come in. Bowman gave up 3 earned runs after Martinez was brilliant to start with 6 innings, had 13 strikeouts. But Segrist was part of that 4-run inning for the Brewers. There's a called strike 3, and Broxton is out. Final game of the series tomorrow night. Hope you'll join us. If not here at Miller Park, right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin, our Miller Lite What's on Tap. 6:30 airtime with Luke Weaver and Matt Garza. And the Brewers are hoping it is for a series win. They're going to have to win tonight to set them up, though.
And Matt Garza gave up 5 unearned runs his last time out.
Maldonado swings and misses at the first offering. Martin's RBI, the lone run producing hit for the Brewers tonight. He and Jerko have the ribbies tonight. Jerko hit a homer. Maldonado with a double. 0-2 the count.
He's been throwing a lot of changeups, has Kevin Segrist. I mean, you think of Segrist and you think back to his games in the past, it's been a lot of big fastballs, but that changeup's a good pitch.
Segrist has him down 0-2. That'll be out of play. Cardinals are a game and a half clear of the Pirates for the second wild card spot. 2 back of the Giants. Pittsburgh is in Chicago tonight. And the Cubs are up 3-0 in the top of the 8th. It's getting close to Aroldis Chapman time there in Chicago, and that's been pretty much a guaranteed win for the Cubs here recently.
Another good start for Kyle Hendricks.
That guy's been something.
Yeah.
A little bit low to Maldonado. Hendricks went 7 shutout tonight for the Cubs. His ERA dropped to 2.09. In a pitching rotation of high-priced, big-name pitchers. Lester, Arrieta, the Cy Young Award winner, John Lackey. Hendricks is the ERA leader in the National League. An embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. They only need 4 for the playoffs too, right? I mean, you just need 4 starters.
Yep.
They've got them.
They figure Hamill's going to be the one in the bullpen. Maldonado is still battling. 1-2 the count. In the air, shallow center. And there is out number 2. So Segrist has retired his first 2 after not recording an out yesterday. And it's going to be Jake Elmore to pinch hit here in the 8th. It's going to be a last at-bat win for someone here tonight. Neither starter will factor in the decision, which is a shame. Both pitched well. Wainwright 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. Same for Peralta. Peralta with 10 Ks. Wainwright with 7.
Best start of the year for Willie.
It's Tyler Thornburg. Looks like he'll have the 9th regardless whether it's a save situation or a tie game. '29-year-old Jake Elmore at the plate. 2 balls and a strike. That one's in there.
A little slider right on the outside corner, backdoored it. He's got much better command tonight than he did last night. He couldn't find the strike zone.
2-2 to Elmore. He swings and rolls one to third. Peralta all the way across the diamond to end the inning. Segrist holds serve, retires the Brewers in order. We go to the 9th. We're all tied at 1. Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by Bank of America. Life's better when we are connected. To the 9th we go in a pitcher's duel at Miller Park. Game 2 of this series with the Cardinals. All tied at 1. Carpenter stepping in. Tyler Thornburg will be on the mound for this 9th inning in a tie game.
Well, 55th appearance for Tyler Thornburg. He pitched last night. He took a loss. 5th loss of the year. He allowed an unearned run in the 9th inning.
Got Carpenter, Jerko, and Piscotty coming up here in the 9th. See the workload for Thornburg. 31 pitches yesterday. Did have 3 days off prior to that, but that's a lot of activity in one game, and high stress pitches as well.
That big error in that inning last night, allowing the Cardinals to be able to pick up a run, to pick up a victory.
One ball, one strike. Carpenter is 1 for 3. And he rolls over one foul. Carpenter has struck out twice tonight. 2 of the 10 Willie Peralta Ks. It had been exactly 1 year since Peralta last pitched 7 innings in a big league game. August 30th of 15. Went 7 tonight. 1 run, home run by Jerko. That's it. There's a called strike 3. Carpenter got caught guessing.
Yeah, he was looking curveball or changeup, one of the two, and he got one right down the middle at the bottom of the zone. Good pitch by Thornburg. Out guessing Matt Carpenter. He knew it.
So now 19 total strikeouts between the two teams in this game tonight. That's nothing compared to last night. 31 Ks combined last night.
50 in 2 games.
Wow.
Jerko's home run put the Cardinals on the board in the 6th. Jerko is swinging the bat right now like the Padres thought he would after his first year. Gave him a multi-year contract. You knew this was going as soon as he hit it. It had the sound.
One of the few bad sliders that Willie threw tonight.
Did he go? They will ask. Down he goes. A strikeout. Jerko out number 2 for Tyler Thornburg. Back-to-back Ks.
Man, threw the curveball that Matt Carpenter, I think, was looking for. Jerko not able to hold up. Good call down at first base.
2 gone in the inning. Here is Stephen Piscotty. And Piscotty pops it up a mile high. It's going to end up in the seats. 1 ball, 1 strike. Thornburg trying to do it quickly here tonight after 31 pitches last night. Only 9 thus far. 7 of those pitches are strikes. Maldonado wants a fastball. 1-2 the count. The Brewers' lone walk-off this year came against St. Louis. They've got a chance to do it again tonight. 2-strike pitch. Got him. Thornburg strikes out Piscotty on the change. He strikes out the side. Stage is set. VR to lead off. Then Jeanette. Then Braun. Brewers at the top of their order as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Strikeouts have been the name of the game here tonight. 21 of them combined. A broadcast on Fox Sports Wisconsin presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Started with the roof closed. Roof is opened up. A beautiful night in Milwaukee. What a game we have going here. All tied at 1. Bottom of the 9th coming, and the Cardinal closer Son Juan O is in for St. Louis.
No, Mike Matheny using his closer here in a tie game in the 9th inning because the top of the Brewers order is up.
There's a liner to right. Piscotty is right there. VR hit it like a bullet, but nothing to show for it. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Yeah, O's got a terrific changeup. We've been talking about changeups all night. And you see that slider right there that kind of just spun up there. Good swing on it. Got VR, but right at Piscotty and right.
Tough break for VR. 1 away. Here is Jeanette with Braun to follow. The Scooter's up there hacking. Fouls the first pitch away.
Not often you see the closer come in a tie game on the road in the 9th, but I guess it's because the Brewers have the top of the order coming up. End up in a little bit different spot in the batting order. You might not have seen them.
Strike 2 on Jeanette. Matheny talking to his bench coach over there, David Bell, former Brewer. Bullpen is quiet. O's inning. Brewers trying to walk off the Cardinals here tonight. One and 2 the count on Scooter. And down he goes. Jeanette falls in a heap as he strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, the same pitch that VR lined into right, but this one much better location, had more depth to it. Down and in, right over the top of it.
So 5 pitches, 2 outs for O, and here comes Ryan Braun. Braun is hitless tonight. Had a long battle in the 6th inning with Wainwright. 10-pitch at bat, ended in a ground out. That came with 2 men on.
O struck out Braun last night. And when his inning of work to pick up a save last night. Got him on that slider. He's got a good one.
Well, if you're Ryan Braun, you're looking for that fastball up and away. You can drive out. Back up the middle, hits O, and this is going to go as a base hit. That was right back at the pitcher, but he whiffed on it. And Braun will reach, carrying the winning run. And now the medical team on their way out to check on O. That
will get him in the hand.
Totally missed the baseball, and
not sure it got a piece of the glove. It might have got the pitching hand here. Not sure. Can't tell from that angle.
Right in the chest.
Yeah, chest.
He's all smiles out there, so
he's probably thinking I deserve that for missing it.
That's right. Would have been an easy out if he catches it.
Right.
Okay, so the Brewers with a base runner now. Braun very fast. And here is Hernan Perez. Infield hit for Braun. Perez 0 for 3, lined out his first time up. Has a strikeout and a flyout. Perez has a career high in home runs this year with 13. And he chases one. 0-2 the count on Perez. Son Juan O. 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th. Cardinals trying to get it to the 10th. Cardinal outfielders extremely deep here. They're trying to cut off any extra base hit.
Yeah, the only thing that would end the game is an extra base hit, maybe double, triple. They're trying to avoid that, playing deep out in the outfield.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Perez into left center field, long run, and he can't get it. Braun on his way to third. We'll stop there as Hernan Perez, a 2-strike, 2-out single to keep this game going for Milwaukee, and a chance to win it now.
Well, he's not smiling anymore. That base hit that hit kept the inning alive, and now Perez a little bit off the end of the bat. You can see where Grichuk was playing around toward right, not able to get there. And Ryan Braun with 2 outs running on contact, but it has to hold up at third base.
First and third. Chris Carter coming up.
Watch out for the wild pitch and one of those sliders here.
Yeah, good call. Molina doesn't let many get by, but has a nasty slider. Not holding Perez on at first. That run means nothing to the Cardinals. Chris Carter at the plate, and he takes a strike. Perez takes second base. Does eliminate the force at second. Borderline pitch. Got the call. Winning run at third base. 1-1. Carter has not been good in spots like this season. This would be a huge moment for him. He's hitting 167 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, first 2 pitches fastballs.
Brewers have 1 walk-off this year. Came against St. Louis. They're looking for number 2. A ball and a strike on Carter. That hit him? No, a foul ball. And it's 1-2.
Foul ball got a piece of Yadier Molina.
In the driver's seat. 1-2 to Carter, and it's in the dirt, smothered by Molina. I think he took that one in the arm.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, that game-saving play right there after getting drilled with a foul ball the pitch before. He squares it up and able to hold on to it. That is a big league play right there.
Hey, how does he do it? And with one knee up too, it's unorthodox, but he's the best. 3 wild pitches this year for 2-2 pitch. Carter stays alive. He fouls it away. Carter's put up big power numbers. The 30 homers, 3rd in the league. This is the spot where he'd love to deliver, though. Get better with the runners in scoring position, especially now with the game on the line. 2-2, and it is upstairs barely.
Oh, that's a tough one to take right there. Got fooled. That was a strike.
Wow. Number 6.
Thank you very much. So take advantage of it now. You get an extra swing.
And now Molina is on his way out. And I think Matheny will join him. I think this is going to be an injury visit.
Yeah, just like the last one.
Get the translator out as well.
I asked him about that ground ball that hit off his chest. Is it affecting him at all? Molina saw something. Called Matheny out.
All right. Count is full. There is a base open at first. Ryan Braun, the runner at third, carries the winning run. Full count, 2 outs, 9th inning. And Carter strikes out. We go to extra innings. All tied at 1. Brewers Cardinals. All season long, Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. A game that has been so good, these two teams aren't ready to end it yet. 1-1 as we go to the 10th. And the Cardinals coming up middle of their order. Corey Knebel will be on the mound to pitch. Gave up a 2-run homer yesterday to Grichuk in the 8th to give up the lead. I'm sure he's glad to be back on the mound.
He has given up only 5 earned runs in 16 appearances since his return from the minor leagues. That's a 281 earned run average. Got called up on July 15th. He's got the middle of the Cardinal order to deal with here in the 10th.
Johnny Peralta leads away. He'll be followed by Molina and then Grichuk. Tyler Thornburg was impressive tonight. 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts in the 9th. In the Brewers 10th, Neuenhuis scheduled to lead off. Might see a pinch hitter there. Depends on what the Cardinals do. And then Broxton and Maldonado.
Right-hander getting loose down in the Cardinals bullpen.
Knebel trying to get to that bottom of the 10th with the game still tied. Deals a strike. 0-2 the count. Matt Bowman, who pitched last night and gave up 3 earned runs in the game last night. Only 1 out recorded. Base hit to right. Peralta singles to start the 10th.
On a 0-2 pitch. Ouch. And he got one up and in, and he fought it off into right field. And a veteran not trying to do too much, just serves it out there in the right field. So leadoff base runner for St. Louis. You realize that the St. Louis Cardinals have not had an at-bat with a man in scoring position all night. That's how good the Brewers pitching's been.
Jed Jerko with the home run in the 6th. 5th hit for the Cardinals. And Molina into right center. That ball's well hit. Slicing, and it's down, a base hit. And it bounces out for a ground rule double, which saves a run. So Knebel immediately in trouble here. Second and third, nobody out for the Cardinals on Molina's 300th career double.
Yep, every pitch he's thrown has been a strike. A first pitch curveball. Molina drives it into the gap out there into right center. That ball one hops over the fence. Not sure if Peralta would have been able to score anyway had the ball stayed in. But the Cardinals sitting pretty, as we talked about, their first man in scoring position tonight. Maybe I said it a little bit too soon.
Hazelbaker's going to pinch run at third base for Peralta. Very fast runner. An 0-2 single by Peralta, and then Molina on a first pitch swing drives one into right center. Two pitches resulting in second and third and nobody out. And here is Grichuk now. Infield end for the Brewers.
With nobody out, kind of an interesting move by Mike Matheny to put a pinch runner in for Peralta, maybe with one out. And Hazelbaker's in at third base, much better speed.
Always wonder if he's going to go on contact in a spot like this with the infield in and nobody out. It's typically what you'd see in a spot like this. Even if he's thrown out at the plate, you'd still have a runner at third and one away. Top of the 10th, 2 on, nobody out. And Knebel in a 1-2 count on Grichuk.
Well, to say that he needs a strikeout is an understatement here. He's ahead of Grichuk. He got behind him 2-1 last night. Grichuk hit the home run.
Knebel does have the strikeout stuff. And a curveball lined to right. That's down, a base hit. Hazelbaker is in. The Cardinals immediately take the lead. 2-1 St. Louis as Grichuk delivers.
On a curveball, a 1-2 curveball. That's one you might want to think about spiking in the dirt. See if he's going to chase it. Leaves it up. And Grichuk doing a good job just shortening up his swing. Just dumps it out into right field. And see where that curveball ends up. That's about mid-thigh. And Hazelbaker able to score the go-ahead run. Still nobody out.
And first and third now for Knebel. Here's Tommy Pham. Cubs have shut out the Pirates tonight. Cardinals a chance to add to their lead in the wild card race against Pittsburgh. Jan Marinez is getting loose. One ball, one strike. Cardinals have taken the lead here in the 10th.
Yeah, 3 straight hits, still nobody out.
Team ahead of the Cardinals, the Giants, at home tonight against Arizona. They're underway, scoreless in the second. Tough outing for Knebel, back-to-back games. That one's in there. 2-2.
Man, think about the hits tonight. I mean, an 0-2 base hit by Johnny Peralta. A first pitch curveball that Molina hit into the gap, and then a curveball and a 1-2 count.
A single and an RBI for Grichuk.
So 2 curveballs and a fastball.
And that one's in there. Called strike 3. Pham is rung up.
He just watches it go by with a man at third base. Borderline, 4 and 5, borderline up in the zone, but with you're talking about a guy at third base with nobody out, you got to be up there swinging the bat.
Molina is that runner at third. Colton Wong with runners at the corners. Singled his last time up.
They might be thinking about a squeeze, maybe dropping down a bunt here. Craig Counsell wants to go out and have a chat with his defense. You're not going to squeeze with no outs, but 1 out, maybe you want to push across that insurance run.
Counsell does that a lot. He makes visits like that quite often in situations like this.
Did that last night.
Manager wants to set the defense. See how the Brewers defend this if Wong does bunt. But you can't just assume he's going to bunt here. Wong has power too, and can't just lay one in there. Got to make a good pitch. Way outside.
And Maldonado setting up way outside, just trying to get a sense for what Wong's going to do, to see if he's going to square around. If you thought maybe that they were going to squeeze, just check out the lead by Yadier Molina from third base.
That pretty much answers the question.
He is off about a foot.
A little league lead.
That does not give you any indication that he's thinking about taking off.
Wong's got to hit it right at an infielder to double him up. He is very fast. And he takes ball 3. Garcia to follow. Swinging away 3-0, and he pulls it foul.
I thought he might. Why not?
Brewers had the go-ahead run at third base in the 9th. Carter struck out to end the inning. Cardinals come back, score immediately. 3-1. Ball 4. And the Cardinals have him loaded now.
That might be it for Corey Knebel. Let's see if he keeps him in there. Marinez is up. He's loose.
Counsell checking the card. Pinch hitter's been announced. Greg Garcia, who's been terrific off the bench. He's been battling a bit of a knee problem, so he hasn't been in the starting lineup the last couple of days.
He started the 9th inning last night with a leadoff double.
He's 6 for 18 as a pinch hitter. He's homered. 3 RBIs off the bench.
It looks like they're going to stay with Corey Knebel.
So the bases are loaded. The Brewers will look to turn a double play up the middle. Corner infielders coming home. And a curveball strike. There's a good one. Pinch hitting numbers are excellent. Cardinals have hit 14 pinch hit homers this year. Leads the majors. There's strike two.
Curveball away, fastball in. Make no mistakes here now. You got a couple of pitches to play with.
Let's see what he does. Slow runner at third and Molina. And a fastball. Garcia fouls it away. Carpenter due next. Cardinals go back to the top of their order. Inning started with 3 straight hits. And an RBI single by Grichuk has St. Louis on top now, 2-1. Both teams scored a run in the 6th. Maldonado on his way out. Now Knebel, a 2-pitch pitcher. He knows he has to be fine with his location. But he's got the big velocity. Gets a lot of swings and misses.
Hadn't gotten hurt too much by the fastball tonight. It's the curveball that's been the problem for him. There's a good one.
Knebel this year is striking out a little over 11 per 9 innings. But he's allowing over 5 walks per 9 as well. Needs a ground ball badly. 1-2 the count on Garcia. 2-2. .23 pitches for Knebel. 24-year-old Texan. Coming back from injury this year, an oblique injury. Knocked him out the first 2 months. Got him. Struck him out with a fastball.
Yeah, see, that's the pitch right there. I mean, that's the pitch that he was able to strike out Pham with. And now he gets Garcia on one down and in, and that's typically where lefties like it. Didn't want to make a mistake with that curveball.
Well, you got one more piece to the puzzle here. A run is in, but if you can get out of here with only one, give your club a chance. You got a dangerous hitter coming up, though. Matt Carpenter, who has struck out 3 times tonight. That is rare for Carpenter. He got caught guessing his last time up against Thornburg. .586 hitter in his career, Rock, with the bases loaded.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? Big money hitter.
Man, that is beyond belief. Those are softball numbers.
He kind of realizes who the pressure is on. It's normally on the pitcher in these situations, and some hitters recognize that and relax. Others get all worked up in these spots.
It's only the 2nd time all year that Carpenter has struck out 3 times in a game. (2-0) the count. Bases loaded, full of Cardinals, and Carpenter in the air, center field. This will be playable for Broxton. And Knebel gets out of the inning. A run does score, however. Cardinals lead it 2-1 on the Grichuk RBI single. Neuenhuis, Broxton, and Maldonado coming up. Game summary as we move to the bottom of the 10th. Jed Jerko, the first run of the game, deposits one into the Toyota territory. And a career high for Jerko at homers, 24. Broxton started the bottom of the 6th with a double. Brewers answered right back. Maldonado doubled in Broxton. And Wainwright and Peralta, the two starters, were excellent in this game. They exit without a decision. Randall Grichuk in the 10th. Drives in a run. And the Cardinals have a 2-1 lead. Now we'll see if the Brewers can answer. 2-1 our score. Milwaukee coming up with Neuenhuis leading off. Then Broxton. And then Maldonado. Jeremy Hazelbaker will stay in to play left field. Garcia remains in the game to play third. And it is Matt Bowman, who does not have a save in the majors. Matter of fact, has not saved a game in professional ball since 2012 in low A ball in Brooklyn. In his first year in the professional game.
And the Brewers got to him yesterday, a third of an inning, 3 runs in.
Kurt Neuenhuis leads off. Now the risk you run if you're Mike Matheny, bringing in your closer in a tie game, you're hoping to get it to extra innings, have your offense do the damage, but the risk part of that is you have somebody other than one of your top pitchers in the game,
right,
in the bottom of the 10th when you're on the road.
But he used his closer because the Brewers had their 1, 2, and 3 hitters coming up. Ended up being all the way down to Carter, number 5 in the batting order. So that's what he wanted. That's why he put that closer in that spot. And now Bowman has the bottom of the order, the bottom half of the order to deal with.
Bowman, an Ivy Leaguer out of Princeton. 25 years of age. Looking for his first major league save. And he skips that one in on Neuenhuis. 3 balls and a strike.
Whole different animal closing out games. I mean, the last line of defense, some guys can deal with it, some cannot, and it's particularly unsettling when it's your first opportunity.
And you can't even begin to describe what this kind of meeting is, to have this kind of player behind the plate while you're trying to do this. The calming influence of Yadier Molina.
Yeah, but it only goes so far. But you're right. I mean, he's out there trying to calm him down, but he still has to make his pitches. And Neuenhuis in the driver's seat, a 3-1 count. Look for one down in the zone, out over the plate here.
10 of his 12 homers have come here at Miller Park this year. The 3-1 outside, ball 4. A leadoff walk to start the 10th.
I mean, every pitch was out of the strike zone. Of course, Joe West called one of them a strike. That last one not even close.
So Bowman puts the lead man on. And now it'll be Keon Broxton. Bowman started his career with the Mets. Cardinals got him in the Rule 5 draft, so has to stay in the big leagues. And he is in a hot spot here. Strike 1 on Broxton.
Well, he's a big time ground ball pitcher. That's his forte. Gets that sinking fastball, gets ground balls. The Cardinals turn a lot of double plays. It's going to be up to Keon Broxton to get one up in the strike zone, try to elevate one of these pitches.
One and one. Bowman's been primarily a starter in his career, other than that first year in pro ball with the Mets. In a role he has never experienced in his life, as Broxton fouls it away. 1-2 the count now.
Breathing pretty heavy out there. You saw that close up before the last pitch. Everything down. That's his game.
Randall Grichuk drove in a run in the top of this inning to give the Cardinals a lead. Lead man on for the Brewers. The tying run at first. Broxton at the plate. Here's the 1-2. And inside. Didn't miss by much, but Broxton evens the count at 2-2.
Everything down. That went in off the plate to see if he'd chase.
Two and two the count. Outside, ball 3. Maldonado due next. This is the part of the order that produced the run in the 6th. Broxton the double, Maldonado the RBI double behind him. Matchup of rookies. Bowman and Broxton, the 3-2 inside, ball 4. Back-to-back walks, 2 on. Now the winning run is aboard, and Mike Matheny is on his way out. He has seen enough.
Well, they've had a left-hander getting loose down in the bullpen. Matt Bowman, in his first opportunity to close out a game, is having a difficult time throwing strikes. Let's see if Craig Counsell wants to have Maldonado bunt here. He's a very good bunter. This is pretty much of a one-sided conversation. Mike Matheny talking to his pitcher.
I wonder, he thought he might be out there to make a pitching change, and he's going to let it ride with Bowman here. So that was a defensive discussion. I think Bowman thought he was coming out. And Matheny is going to stick with the rookie right-hander.
Well, if you're Craig Counsell, do you drop down a bunt? I think you do in this situation because you've got a ground ball pitcher. Last thing you want is a double play. You've got to make sure this guy throws a strike. He's having a difficult time right now.
Maldonado is an excellent bunter. Often tries to bunt for hits. 2 on, nobody out. Maldonado squares, bunts. Bowman pounces on it. He's going to first, and the first out of the inning.
Yeah, good bunt by Martin. I mean, you have the right guy up there to bunt. Now a base hit wins the game. You got terrific speed at second base.
Neuenhuis carries the tying run. Broxton carries the winning run.
Well, you talk about a perfect bunt by Martin Maldonado. It's exactly where you want it.
Back-to-back walks. The sacrifice bunt. And the first out for Bowman. Now Domingo Santana will pinch hit. He's 1 for 8 off the bench. Been hurt a lot this year. Spent most of the season on the DL. Shoulder and an elbow injury. Game on the line. Broxton has blinding speed at second base. And Bowman steps off.
Outfield pretty shallow for St. Louis. I mean, that's kind of a risk. Look how shallow they are, except for perhaps Piscotty's about normal, but left field, center field, pretty shallow.
And there are no great arms in that outfield. Santana takes a strike. Numbers with runners in scoring position. Brewers had 2 on at second and third last inning with 2 outs. And they've got him there in the 10th. Santana takes strike 2. 0-2 the count.
Well, 2 pretty good pitches. The first one might have been a little bit inside, but that one right at the knees.
Broxton's going to be able to get a big lead and a big jump. Not holding him on at all. 0-2 pitch. Santana takes a ball. change, and it's 1-2 now. That's a huge lead. Tying run at third. Winning run at second. 1-2 pitch. Santana stays alive. Just got a piece.
Yeah, the infielders staying put to cover as much ground as they can to keep some kind of a ground ball in the infield. Little split change right there by Bowman.
Hadn't been a whole lot of opportunities in this kind of situation. But if you're wondering why Matheny is stubborn with Bowman, because in his previous 2 games where he's pitched in extra innings, he has not allowed an earned run. He's pitched very well in both. 1-2 inside, almost hit him. Throw to third. Neuenhuis is back. Can you imagine if that throw hits Neuenhuis and goes into left field?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Never crossed his mind. From 0-2 to 2-2. Santana trying to deliver the big hit. Way inside again. Now it's full.
This could very well be Bowman's last hitter. A left-hander getting loose. You got the switch hitter coming up, and then Jeanette. But we'll see.
Count is full. Santana strikes out. 2 outs.
Yeah, swung at ball 4. Boy, he's been very stubborn, has Bowman. Keeping the baseball down, everything down. That one out of the zone, and Santana swing and a miss.
Well, the Brewers' inability to put the ball in play with runners on tonight has hurt them. The strikeout keeps the runners right where they are. And Matheny's going to start to work the matchups here. He's got a left-hander in the bullpen. They're going to intentionally walk VR. And then I'm sure the left-hander's coming on to face Jeanette.
And then you've got Arcia, you've got Pena, both right-handed hitters on the bench.
Former Brewer Zach Duke down there. So I guess if you're Matheny, you decide you want Bowman against a left-handed Jeanette or Zach Duke against potentially one of the right-handed bench players.
Yeah, bottom line, he doesn't want any part of VR here.
So VR draws the walk, and Matheny on his way out to make the change. Coming right down to the last out potentially. The Brewers a chance to win this one. Matheny's second trip, and Bowman will exit. Now we'll see what Counsell does to counter. Brewers a chance to win this one, and it's going to be Manny Pena. So once the left-hander Zach Duke was brought into the game by Matheny, Council counters. The former Brewer Duke signed a big deal with the White Sox and traded to St. Louis.
Yeah, it leads all of baseball in appearances, now 67 for Zach Duke. He did pick up a save as a member of the White Sox this year. Nowhere to put Manny Pena.
Pena with 2 outs takes strike 1 from Duke. Well, what a spot for Manny Pena. Trying to establish some footing in the big leagues. Had a great year in AAA to get the call up after the Brewers traded Lucroy. Slow roller. That is a foul ball. Foul ball. No play. And the count will be 0-2. This is not reviewable, by the way. Called by the home plate umpire before it reaches the base, and so it stands regardless.
Yeah, once you call foul, it's going to be foul. You can't really appeal it because you can see clearly it's foul ball. Good call by the umpiring crew.
And Pena's down 0-2. The winning run at second. 2-1 Cardinals, 10th inning. Duke deals. Pena rolls one foul again. Do it again, another 0-2. Duke delivers and a strikeout to end the game. Mike Matheny navigates his way through it. The Cardinals win 2-1. Jed Jerko homers. Randall Grichuk with the game-winning RBI. And the Brewers put up a good fight the last 2 days, but they come up empty on both occasions. And their troubles continue against the St. Louis Cardinals this year. Brewers are now 3-11 against the Cardinals. Time for Brewers Live. We check in with Craig Kashawn. He's standing by with Jerry Augustine. Take it away, Craiger.
Okay, B8, thanks a lot. We're going to hear from Craig Counsell. Tough loss here for Milwaukee in extra innings, but we'll take a look at Game 3, see if they can salvage the finale of what started out to be a pretty good homestand, but now the Brewers have lost 6 straight. Brewers Live is coming up.